Welcome to our show. I feel like I say this every single week. Get to know your neighbor. Welcome to our show. I'm your host, Cameron Geesaman with Geesaman Homes. And each week, as always, we interview local neighbors and business owners or businesses of fishers and share their stories with you. Don't forget, of course, to click the like button, post an emoji. I haven't said this in a while, but we can't always see who jumps on. So if you give a little wave or something in the comments, it helps us know who's here. If you have a friend that you really want us to showcase or a business, shoot us a message, as I would love to chat with them and see if they would be a good fit for our show. Tonight, we are interviewing Cecliy Fox with Sweet Peas Flower Farm. Cecily is a flower farmer, designer, and plant enthusiast. She grew up in this area, being around plants, kind of because her parents owned a greenhouse, but she also has experience with landscape design and worked at a flower shop, and really has given her a lot of knowledge. She found that she loved learning about the origin of flowers, and I must say, her flower arrangements are amazing. They're really the most beautiful things that I've seen from a florist. During the growing season, I love that we have really a local florist that grows the flowers here locally and isn't just shipping them in from all around the country. Of course, during the winter months when we're not growing flowers, she does ship some in, but still has that beautiful technique of making beautiful flowers. She truly is a shop local experience that I definitely love to support and love sending them to our clients. So please welcome Cecliy Fox. There she is. It's so hard to try to, especially when you don't have a whole lot of knowledge about someone, to try to put together. And it's hard to explain this is what I struggled with today when I was kind of writing the intro. It's hard to explain how unique your arrangements are. They're gorgeous and they really are better than, sorry, any other florist around, but they're just really beautiful and unique. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
Well, thanks. We just try to have fun with the flowers that we grow. I mean, basically, like each of us, people, we all have different personalities and different characteristics, and so do flowers and so do foliages, and just trying to really highlight what they have to offer, their colors, their textures, and really make them shine in the arrangements and let them do the talking outside of anything else. So it's really fun to kind of step back, I don't want to say talk to the flowers, but kind of just kind of see what they have to say and then let them speak instead of me, I guess, through the arrangements. So,
well, that said it a lot better than I did. Because it is, you look at them and even my client sent me a message of how gorgeous it was. And it was just, it almost spoke to you. That's why the one that I picked out, I loved, because it had a lot of texture, and I don't know, it was just really beautiful. So anyway.
Thanks. And the cool thing about what we do is each one of them are different. So, we have it's not like you're going off of what is it, TFDT or something, 1-800 flowers or something, where they're all the same. Each arrangement that we do is completely different and unique. So nobody else is going to get exactly what you get.
Yeah, I like that. I do. Okay, so we're going to jump right in because we always usually ask a Fisher's question. So what brought you to Fisher's?
Oh, Fishers. I grew up in the area, just in Noblesville, and that's actually where our flower farm is. And we just kind of, we have 2 kids and, thinking kind of down the road for them and obviously the suburbs. So, kind of thought Fishers was a good fit, be close to the farm, but then away from it a little bit to have our own, I guess, life outside of work too.
So did you go to Noblesville High School?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're just from the area.
Oh yeah. And this area does not look like it did back in the day.
No. Even Noblesville, there's been a lot of change, Fishers, yes, huge change, but even Noblesville, there's been a ton of growth in Noblesville as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I guess going back to like starting a farm and starting a business, sure, I came from this area, the northern suburbs, but like, if you think about it, like, where else would you want to start a business? You have a ton of people coming in, young people, active people, the population supports local, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it, and give something to everybody that's a little bit unique, from what they can get at the grocery store or something else too. So sure, I'm from this area, but if you're going to start a business, and what other better place to do it,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Well, and I love that, again, part of the reason why I did the show is it really is about supporting local, and so I love that because I feel like, especially in this area, we do a fairly good job of doing that. We really try to support. I know we do, and then I'm always telling everybody else to do it. Like, if you're going to buy that, try to get it,
Yes.
like, and even especially with everything that's going on, I try to mention that right now with the holidays and stuff. Like, if you're going to do something, try to do. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But can you tell us a little bit about your journey, with starting a flower farm? Because I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound like an easy feat.
No, I was telling my husband, I was like, I think I have chosen the hardest, most demanding physical job for myself that bears like, that necessarily isn't the smartest for our family, but I love it every day. I love it every day. My journey to get here is kind of unique. So yes, grew up kind of around plants and growing plants from the, seed to finish, and didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of figure out my own path, and I went to school at Ball State for landscape architecture. Love design, love landscape design. Did it for 5 years ish, and I still piddle with it. Did it for 5 years, but I was tired of being around behind the computer.
Yeah.
I really was. I'm a more hands-on person, so kind of explored kind of what I thought about what I could do differently. And I have this memory of probably when I was in elementary school of walking through a flower farm and being in awe of the colors, of the heights and the textures of the flowers. And as I was doing landscape design, I'm like, man, that sounds a lot better than what I'm doing right now. So, so so I knew that I had kind of from my background, some resources with growing the flowers, but I didn't at that time know how to design with them. So I worked at a local florist for a couple years, kind of learned from them. I mean, and I work with the ladies. I think we're going to talk about that later. Some of those exact same ladies that taught me, we worked together for wedding and events. And then just kind of said, like, all these flowers that we were getting in, I'm like, hey, I can do this. I can do this. I can grow these. Like, why are we getting them overseas or something? I can do this right here. So got married, and I told my husband I'm quitting my job and we're doing this.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that's kind of how is that, like the 6-year journey in a minute or something? So
Yeah.
but honestly, I do love landscape design, and I still do piddle with it. But design, the principles of design, no matter what design, I think, no matter what design you do, are the same. It's design principles are applicable in landscape and architecture and interior and in floral design, the basic concepts. Sure, each specialty has its own. So in my design background, even though it was with plants and trees and hardscapes, you can still kind of take that to the next level. And it was easier for me to add on to that with the flower design, and then using the textures of, the flowers and that material to incorporate it in.
Gotcha. So you kind of started in landscape, but then moved into more. Do you try when you do landscape design if you are doing it with clients, which I don't know if you specifically are, but like, do you try to incorporate more flowers?
Not so much flowers. Well, yeah, I guess. But like landscape design is I try to do it like 4 seasons. If you're at your house, you want your house to look good 4 seasons. So that's more of the mentality of that. But like the structure, where you put, same thing with the flowers, like a boxwood texture speaks volumes, just like a dahlia high petal flower, like they're both focal pieces. So it is where you kind of put them in an arrangement or in a landscape plan. And then the textures that you add in the foreground and the background.
Right.
And I don't know. I think of design, all design as almost like a problem solving. And I think I'm kind of unique in that, but that's why I love design. I feel like I'm like, have this problem and I have to solve it in a sense with using the design skills. So, and floral design is a lot more fun than drawing lines on a piece of paper sometimes. So
I will say I do not have any design, and my garden or my landscaping is a hot flipping mess.
yeah.
Because you try to, you go to the store, right? You go to Allisonville Nursery or, any of the nurseries, Wasson, whatever. And you go and you see these plants and you're like, oh my gosh, that looks so great. But I don't always look at what is the size of the plant going to be when it grows and how do I maintain it and when does it bloom and when does it bloom and when does it, and so then you put it in your garden and then 3 years later you go, why the hell did I put that there?
Minor details.
I literally this year went, I gotta pull some of these things out. This is bad. But that's why you hire someone.
Yes. And that's why you go to school for that. So
yeah. And I should have hired someone and tried to, because I love design. I don't have a design background, but I love to design. I will say the benefit about interior design is when you place something there, it doesn't change.
Yes, this is true.
When you put something in a garden,
yes.
Damn it changes.
Yes.
It's bigger or it changes like through the sea. Yeah.
It's a challenge. See, it's a problem and you have to solve it.
Is. So that's and I tried to, because I thought, okay, I'm gonna design this front garden, the front beds, and I want to use more like Indiana. Like I try to use like what is good for us, like because you can get some cool things from other areas, but what is it that we could do that is more to this area? Because I think a lot of landscapers sometimes just do what's pretty sometimes. Of what I found versus what is native to this area. So I was like, I'm going to be native and I'm going to have these cool. I don't know what I'm doing.
You can keep learning, keep reading labels.
Keep trying. My husband gets really mad because I'm like, let's pull that out and put something else in.
Yeah.
Like, can you just pick something and stick with it?
Yeah.
No. Who inspired you to kind of branch out and do more than just like the weddings and events that you were doing? Like what made you do more?
Well, you guys inspired kind of to do weddings and events in the first place. We started at just the couple neighborhood or just farmers markets, and everybody would ask, do you do weddings and events? Do you do weddings and events? And, I think I just had my first kid and I was like, sure, I can do that, so,
right.
And by that time I'd worked at the flower shop for a couple years, so I kind of could do it, but I'd never headed up one myself. So you guys kind of got me into that. And, more of the interest of that made me consider, bringing in some independent contractors, basically some designers, and there's a team of 4 of us that kind of head up our weddings and events, and we do that our weddings and events under the umbrella name of Euphoric Events. And you can find the link of the Euphoric Events on our website. I think it's the design click or up in the design that will take you to Euphoric Events. But there's 4 of us that kind of head up our wedding and events, and they are amazing. Like I said, these ladies are the ones that I have learned from. They taught me everything, and everybody has a unique personality, a unique style, and it's really fun to just see how we all come together. But from the weddings and events, this last year with COVID and what everybody's been dealing with, there was no wedding and events. So I had all these flowers in the field that were beautiful. My spring flower crop had never been as pretty as it was this year. And I was sitting there like, how the heck am I going to get rid of these? And, I am so thankful that the Lord has provided for us throughout this year. And, I really did not have an interest in doing daily flowers. But man, they have been fun to celebrate each of you's highs, and, to be there when people have their lows, and just provide them with those flowers that come from our fields, that bring so much joy to each other's face, is been truly a blessing this year. So really, I think it was the second week of COVID, I was with my kids for 2 weeks. I'm like, I can't do this. And
There's
started,
all the moms out there.
yeah, exactly. And I hear you. And just started to think, like, how am I going to do this? And I came up with the idea of Florentine. And it's basically an at-home kit that I dropped off, a flower arranging kit, and that would drop off at your doorstep, and you could arrange your own flowers. And then from there, we do offer some different sizes of arrangements. Unfortunately, only delivered local. I cannot ship. I haven't figured out how to do that economically yet. But so started with you guys, and it's just continued with providing for, our community and what the need is. And it's been pretty fun and stressful and challenging, just with everybody this year, to figure out how to navigate through it. But I am very blessed and thankful for each one of you, and just for the Lord for protecting us through this. So it's been a fun year with that.
Well, I love that you shifted, right? So you were doing things and you looked at and you're like, okay, how can we shift and what can we do? And I loved that idea of being able to bring the flowers to someone, but then allowing their creativity to bloom.
Yeah, honestly, it's been so fun. Like the Florentines at the beginning, of COVID, and everybody would post and tag us, or tag Sweet Peas, and bless your guys' heart. Some of you like just read the instructions, and but
Right.
it's great. Everybody's person, like just with anything, everybody's like personality shines through, and you all did a fantastic job, and have done a fantastic job with putting your own arrangements together with your own style and your own personality. So
I loved the idea. I thought it was such a unique thing because I think that, again, people wanted, like you'd been home with the kids for 2 weeks. You're like, I've got to do something. It gives people something to do than just sitting around. And even if they did it with their kids, or, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a fun addition. And I think it's so smart of you to go, okay, how can we shift? Because so many companies just don't have that within them, or don't know what to do, that I think that was a good, I liked the shift,
thank you. I did too. And it's definitely, as going through the spring, pulling my hair out, getting, like I feel like I got some more wrinkles there, but whatever. But I just feel like in 5 years, or, even in 10 years, I'll look back at 2020 and be like, wow, that really pivoted my business, and, like to a different direction that it never would have happened. And, that's what the faith that we have to have, just one step in front of the other, and just kind of like keep going forward. So,
Yeah.
And I had so many flowers I had to get rid of. So
You're like, okay, what do we do? Well, can you explain even, okay, so, right, you have certain designs, right? But can you explain kind of the process you go through when designing for an event? Or like, I know and maybe if you want to talk about this a little bit, because I messaged you and said, okay, what are you going to do for the holidays? Like, what are you doing to kind of prepare for like Thanksgiving and Christmas? And what does that look like with kind of planning for that?
yeah, I'll do the weddings and events first, and then we'll switch over to the holidays. For wedding and events, it's really like, the potential bride or the customer kind of guide the conversation, and I just advise. Like this is your dream day. This is, what you've been dreaming of. You have your Pinterest page. You know exactly what colors. You picked out the venue, the linens, and everything. I'm just advising you on what's in season, what style would go best. What you just try to problem solve, basically, to get what you want in your budget, and have this look that you've always wanted. So basically the client drives it. Okay. And then, like my job is just to be the creative mind behind it, to put the vision together. And basically doing that is just a recipe. like your cooking recipe. You just like line out all the flowers that are going to come together for your bouquet, or centerpiece or whatever. And then you implement it when it's the time comes. So, and we try to use, obviously, all the flowers we can from our farm. You know, they're pick if your wedding's on Saturday, we are picking them on Wednesday, and designing with them. So I mean, you can't get any fresher product from for that. Even
Yeah.
with your daily arrangements that we deliver too, it's you're getting something that was picked that week.
Yeah.
But then so that's kind of how that goes. And then for the upcoming holidays, it's been a busy week with how nice the weather was, so I haven't got them online yet. But we are going to, with COVID, I know a lot of different people's Thanksgivings is going to look a little bit different. So we are going to offer centerpieces to dress up your table, to still make it special for your family. And then a lot of the cool thing, a lot of the flowers can be dried from the fields. So throughout all the ones that didn't sell throughout the year, I've dried. So we have some really cool dried wreaths for the winter and for the fall and winter that we're going to be posting too for sale. So
I can pay for that. Okay.
So yeah, so a lot of fun things coming, but like I said, the weather's been so nice that I've been really focusing outside instead of, like I said, I'm not good with behind the computer stuff. Really not good. So
That's okay. We knew that it was supposed to be like 70 degrees. So even today I called a local farmer to have him deliver manure because I need to put it on my gardens.
Yes, exactly. It's great. It's great.
It's gonna be warm. I gotta get outside before I gotta clean up my gardens and cut stuff down and try to because it's the one weekend you don't know. I think last year that it was warm on Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
But it snowed on Halloween.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. So it's you try to plan.
Yeah.
So you're probably are you going to be on the farm then this weekend? Trying to clean stuff up?
Yeah. It's kind of funny that I do what I do because I hate hot, humid weather. I hate being cold and I hate being wet. So I am a fair weather farmer, if you could say something like that. So yeah. So the temperatures now, lower 70s, upper 60s,
perfect.
Yes.
I know, I am. If only it could just be like that in Indiana year round, I'd be great.
Yeah. And we've been missing that in the spring and the fall the last 2 years. So anyways, yeah, my to-do list is pretty long. Basically, I got to take everything out and just kind of tuck the farm in and the beds in, get ready for the spring. So believe it or not, we already have our spring crop growing for March and April.
What is the growing? Is there anything? Because you have hoops over some of your, right?
Yeah, they're called high tunnels.
Okay. What are they?
High tunnels.
High tunnels. Okay. So in those high tunnels, can you grow anything in there in the winter?
Not really. So my high tunnels are not heated.
Okay.
So basically, if you would take over a farm field, just over dirt, if you would just put a plastic hoop.
Okay.
And you're closing it off so the wind doesn't get in.
Right.
In the wintertime. And so these flowers that I have planted, there are 3 layers of frost blanket ready. So last Sunday when it went down to 24, I went out and I tucked in my flowers. So basically we just cover them up and let the ground temperature, put the ceiling down lower with the cover. So basically the heat from the ground keeps them warm.
Okay.
So, but they are not heated. Hopefully one day down the road they will be heated, but they're not. There's 3 of them. I have ranunculus and anemones now. In a month I'll have stock and snapdragons, and just kind of fillers from there. So
that's so awesome. I have a friend. He was kind of like you. He's had his wife wanted to do a flower farm. She realized that So I give you credit because she was like, nah, it's really, because it's hard. She started it when she was like, this was a lot more. So he sells like vegetables and stuff.
Mhm.
Now they have the hoop
Mhm.
houses as well. And so I was on the phone with him today because I called him about the manure. I was like, hey, where can I get compost, from
Uh-huh.
like a farmer? And he had the recommendation, but I was like, how's it going? And he said this year was the first time, which they've done this for 4 or 5 years. This is the first year that he finally in one just put in a heater because it's like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
he was explaining it to me. I'm like, oh my, and it's not inexpensive either. It's not like you just go throw out a heater.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
pricey,
like a little foot heater that you can put under your desk. Like it's this
right?
big deal.
Yes, yeah.
Down the road, but yeah, we have no heated, so we rely, and what the crazy thing is, if we have sure, the winter might be cold, but if the sun is out, I mean, the sun will warm up that plastic and warm up that greenhouse or high tunnel like 20 plus degrees than it is outside.
Wow.
So that, really works in our favor too,
Yeah.
obviously. So
When you say you drop the roof, what do you mean by that?
So the high tunnel is like, like let's say like this high. Well, when I put the blanket over, I'm I'm covering up so the ceiling doesn't go so high of them.
Okay.
So it only has to heat like a smaller amount of space. Like the air only has a
Okay.
shorter amount of space to not evaporate, but I'm word
Right. I
disperse or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Um, what struggles kind of have you had with growing flowers in Indiana? Because I like clearly you can't grow them in the winter. Do you find sometimes that, like you put in a crop, but it gets too cold? And even by doing what you're doing, can you lose crops? Like, is that
Oh yeah. I mean, but that's kind of like a given, like oops, like
fun?
it's Indiana. I have no heat, so it's gonna
Right.
happen. It could happen. So, when it's like super cold in January and February, on those nights, I don't sleep very well. But it's okay. I think the biggest struggle is just everybody knows this. Indiana, you just don't know. Our seasons aren't
No.
aren't how they're supposed to be. Sometime like this season or this last year, I made I could start planting outside in April because the
Okay.
weather was sunny enough and warm enough where it
Great.
dried out the ground and I
No.
could like start tilling and planting. I have never been able to get out in the fields that early
In
before.
April. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just it's just like a farmer. As soon as they can get out in the fields, they go. Well, that's pretty early, to be
Yeah,
planting.
'cause you usually wait till Mother's Day, right? Is it the same for flowers that it is for, like, vegetables?
Well, it's just you just gotta. Yes, I guess like everything has a um preference that they like. Let's
Okay.
just say, like my ranunculus and anemones, they are in stock and snapdragons. They like colder weather.
Okay.
So they like colder temperatures. So that if I planted them to bloom in July and August, it would not happen because they do not like the heat. So basically I have to line out my crops depending on the year. So like sunflowers don't like cold.
Right, they
Obviously,
always
that's why you don't see
yeah,
them, until the summer when it's hot. So like those are obviously a summer. It has to warm up. The ground has to warm up before those will even germinate in the ground. So it's kind of like you're backtracking a little
right.
bit, and just kind of figuring out what everybody likes, I guess, and trying to accommodate them. Not only do I have to deal with that with my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old, I also have to deal with that and then like sometimes you can fake it a little bit with the high tunnels. Like you can extend the season or I can speed up spring, let's just say,
Okay,
because of that cover
'cause
that
it's
I provide.
right.
Where I can extend the fall a little bit longer into winter. So basically you're just kind of figuring out everybody likes and then trying to put it in this environment that is uncertain. So that's probably like my biggest struggle is just like
Yeah,
figuring out what to do. And what happened last year does not mean it's going to happen this year. Like, are we going to get a week of mid 70s and the first in November next year? Like, probably not.
right.
So I better get all my stuff done before and not count on that. Um, next
It's
year.
crazy. Well, and I think even so, so many, well, we even lost some of our flowers and some of our stuff because in May, well, April, it froze.
Oh, that was let me tell you about that one. That was
That
Mother's Day
was a bad
weekend.
one.
That was Mother's Day weekend, and it got down to like 20,
Yes.
26, 24. I had 3 full high tunnels of flowers in full bloom ready to go. So my husband and
That was
I,
not a good sleeping night.
yeah, I was up every hour and a half, every 2 hours, because we had heaters in
Oh,
there, making sure like the generators had fuel to heat the heaters, to
oh
keep it warm.
gosh.
I mean, you just pretty much you I had a girl that has helped me for the last 2 years, and she had her baby, so she didn't help me this season. But the joke was, I bet you haven't looked at the weather as much in your life as you have working with me. And she goes, "You're right. I look at the weather all the time."
All the time.
Yes.
That's crazy. Yeah, we have a red bark, what is that? A red bark Japanese maple.
Maple. Uh-huh.
And what? Coral bark maple, right? Or a Japanese maple. And it had bloomed, right? It was doing well. And now we never got leaf. Now I've got it at the bottom. So I'm like, do I cut it off? Do I just let it go next year? Like, I'm going to try to see what it does. But like, it's growing from the bottom. It's just nothing at the top. Like, I don't know if it completely killed the whole top. I
I
think it did.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna have to see what happens.
I know. It's like one of those where it's like, but that's like, I can only imagine, like, from your perspective, like, you want to make sure that everything is still heated because that's like a whole, I mean, that's a whole season of flowers.
Well, not only did I have everything ready to ship right now, so all my stuff that I started in now um, was ready to ship. I forgot about this part. Also planted probably 3 or 4 months worth of flowers already outside that were not covered. So we had to bring out blankets,
Yes.
yeah, for those, and kind of carry those in, and like just say some prayers and hope, like say you've done as much as you can. And that's what the thing, like you can only do so much,
Right.
and my thing is every time, like the next morning when you like take them off, you're like,
So
yeah.
you're trying to see if the leaves have changed that color where it kind of has that like look like it's frostbite. You're like,
Yeah. And you're just like, come on, son, come on, son, come on, son, come out right now, right now.
that would be so nerve wracking. And you have
That's
no
the first
control.
time that, and that, as I said though earlier, that was the earliest I've ever gotten flowers out was this year. But then that was the latest frost we've ever had, or cold temperature. So then I kind of kicked myself for getting it out there so early. So you never know. So the struggles make it, this sounds silly, but fun. It keeps you on your toes.
So,
Well, like you're just, maybe I just think my life is just a big problem that I have to solve. But, but it's just something that comes your way. You have to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, then I would have been like 5 months behind, because it's not like you plant
right.
a seed or a plug in a week you have a flower. There's a 3 to 4 month turnaround. So I'm 3 to 4 months ahead
Right.
of
It's
everything,
crazy. Do
basically.
you have perennials and annuals? Like, is there one hoop that's like all?
So perennials, going back to your first thing that you're mentioning, you got to make sure that they're hardy for
Yes.
this area, and then they do well. So when you're picking something out, you got to make sure it's hardy. So
Yes.
perennials, the good thing about those is they can stay outside. So this year was my 4th year, and I think that was my goal, was to get a perennial patch started.
Yeah.
So those are outside, and they just stay outside. I will not have to, cover them or anything. They just do what perennials do.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
love
good.
perennials.
Yes. And they're great for cut flowers too. They're great for, especially mixed in with the annual flowers
Yeah.
that I grow. So it's a
What's
great compliment.
your favorite like design or flower that you just love using?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question because that's so seasonal.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
be in the middle of like this last fall or this last dahlias. Holy smokes, my dahlias were rocking.
Love them.
Yes, they
The
were.
one you took to my client, it had them in it. Gorgeous.
Yeah, and that's all you have to put in though with a little bit of foliage and you're done because they speak to themselves.
Do they last fairly long? Like,
No. Well, the blooms, unfortunately, like as a cut flower, they don't last very long. You won't get as much life out of them as a rose or something, but
yeah.
they're stunning. But the plant itself, I start those in May, and they don't bloom till August.
Okay.
And
They're
then
annuals?
I'm sorry.
Are they an annual?
Yes, they are not hardy here. So
Okay.
actually, this week's my task is, and you're just gonna roll your eyes because there's so much work. Dahlias are so much work. You have to cut them all back, and since they're not hardy, I have to dig up every one of them and store them for next May
No.
to replant them.
Where do
So
you store them?
they're just in like crates, and then I'll split them and get
And
more
then you plant them back
in May. Yeah, so they're like
They go dormant.
I'm sorry.
So they go dormant?
No, they don't. Well, yeah, I guess they did go dormant. Yeah, they go
You're
dormant.
reusing the same plant.
It's basically think of a tulip bulb.
Like a bulb. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
That's all you
Think of
need.
a tulip bulb. The tulip will like split or as it grows in your
Yes.
season, it will form like 5 others. Well,
Okay.
I'm digging up that whole clump.
Okay.
And I'm shaking off the dirt, and I'm basically dividing out those 5. The one tulip became 5. So
Okay.
now I have 5 plants that I can plant in 2021 that's happened from one.
So, but tulips can stay in the ground.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So my tulip analogy was my dahlias.
Okay, so it's the same premise where now if a dahlia was in like say Alabama, it would stay in the ground.
Yeah, they have it easy down there. Yeah.
So you're just taking it out because even tulips, like if I take it out and I put it in a bag in my garage, it'll stay there.
Yeah.
Like I've had tulips stay for 2 years in a bag, and then you plant them, and then all of a sudden they come back. It's crazy. I don't understand.
Yeah. So like dahlias aren't hardy here. They don't like the cold. Actually, as soon as the frost came, they were done. Like I didn't have any more blooms with them. And so my job now is to dig them all up, save them for next May. And I don't know how many I have. I just have a long way to go. So
do you ever sell, out of curiosity, do you ever sell those clumps? Like let's say
the tubers, they're called
tubers. The tubers to people. Like if I wanted to have dahlias next year, that I could buy those and then plant them next year, even though I would need to dig them up.
You don't have to. You can just buy them every year. If you don't care, you can buy them every year. But I care because I can multiply them.
Right.
And, but I'm thinking about it. I've never had, I'm still learning the best way to save them till May, to overwinter them. So I'm still trying to figure that out. What works best for my environment, my situation and stuff.
Right.
Like, you look at YouTube videos and you're like, oh, it's a piece of cake. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's not. Okay. Sometimes it's not.
Right.
So anyways, once I get that figured out, I would love to sell the tubers,
yes,
to everybody to enjoy because they are so pretty.
So I've always been oh my gosh, what's my favorite flower? Gerber daisies. Oh my gosh, sorry, I like totally.
Uh-huh.
But partially because of the picture or like kind of the flower and the color that they produce. Not your traditional like white ones. I like the really vibrant ones. And the dahlias are kind of the same way. Like they're all the blooms. Here's the thing. Sorry for anybody that loves roses. I just don't like them.
Well, roses have their place, but if you can put roses with something else, that makes the rose more appealing.
I don't know. You're being awfully nice to the rose.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I never have. I've told Adam like every year, don't ever buy me 12 dozen roses. It does nothing for my psyche. Yeah. So anyways, but the dahlias are just gorgeous. They're just vibrant and big and all the petal.
Yeah. So right now, my favorite flower is dahlias. like just because I just got done picking them. I love them, you know, even though I hate them right now because I'm digging them. But anyway, but if you ask me in the spring, it's going to be ranunculus when my ranunculus blooms.
I don't know what ranunculus is. What does it look like?
You need to Google it. Just Google it real quick. RANUNCU. RANUNCULUS. They're super high petal, beautiful colors. They're kind of like.
Yes. Okay, that's a better. Okay, let's see if I can figure. Adam, how do I do this? How do I share this picture?
You better share the right one. You better spell it right. I'm just kidding. No, so my flowers change basically, and then like if one of them I'm struggling with bugs or something, you're off my favorite list for that season. You know, it's just it's just because I'm hands on with them every day. So
I'm gonna right.
Those are ridiculous.
I love those.
Yeah. So those are what are in.
That is not a ranunculus. That's a high.
Yeah, and you got some alliums in there too.
Yeah, there's some other stuff on there, but
yeah,
that's better than a rose.
Yes, it is. But these guys don't like the hot. So as soon as the temperature gets hot, then they poop out, and I pull them out because I'm done with them because they don't produce anymore, and I'll plant something else in their place.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I rotate my crops, by season, based on what they prefer, basically.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that is spring. Mm-hmm. Summer is.
Summer, I'm usually pulling my hair out so much that I
love that. Yeah.
And summer flowers are, I don't want to say this to sound negative because they're beautiful, but are pretty basic and traditional. Everybody knows them, the sunflower, the zinnia, I'm never going to say that those are my favorite. I do grow Lysianthus. Those are beautiful. Those are fun. So summertime, I usually just try to get by and,
try to get on to what the next flower is.
And I don't really stop and let's just say not smell the roses, but smell the flowers very much.
So you don't really have like your personal favorite flower?
I can't say there's one. No, I just really can't.
No, that's all right. I love that though, because I think that that shows that you just have a variety, and there is,
the cool thing about I've been doing this for 5 years, only 5 years. So I'm a newbie still, in this scheme of floriculture, growing flowers, way newbie.
Right.
But like what I have loved is every time the spring comes around, or every time the dahlias come on blooming, they stop me in my tracks, and I get like this appreciation for them. Like the flowers have not gotten old to me yet. I'm like, oh, there's the ranunculus. Oh, there's the dahlias. Like it really like stops me what I'm doing. And like, I really love seeing the next blooms and seeing the flowers bloom. And that's just like, I hope I never lose that, because if I do lose it, then everybody else isn't getting like a great quality product because I've lost my passion and desire, really, I think, for what I do. So
I think it's awesome. I have always, you see those pictures where they're just fields of flowers. I just want to like stand in the middle of one.
Well, that was my memory, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because of that.
My girlfriend, so her favorite is the sunflower. And so that's why she wanted to be the sunflower farmer, right? And just that it's a lot harder than she ever anticipated. Like, yeah. So, but luckily you have multiple facets, which kind of brings us to that, next question, which is, what can you kind of tell the audience about what the different things you offer? Like you've kind of mentioned a lot, but to kind of like put it into one little clump, like you do weddings, like, can you kind of explain all of those?
So you can find our flowers, basically we deliver in all of central, around the loop, in the suburbs, if you're going to, you can take me all the way down south if you want to. I'll deliver it. But so that's the new thing, I guess, that we do is like, I just call them daily arrangements. But I don't know. You can find our flowers in a lot of things like weddings and events. We sell to a lot of florists, local florists.
Okay.
Bless, you just admire the businesses that try to support their local other businesses. And so we have probably worked with at least 20 florists of the area and that use our product
Okay.
in their events. So that's really fun.
Okay.
During the growing season in Fishers and Carmel and Noblesville, you can find our bouquets in Kroger this last year. So that was really fun, a lot of work, but really fun to.
And they go fast, people, because I've gone into Kroger and I'm like, I sent my husband one day and I was like, okay, you're looking for the ones that say sweet peas. And he's literally going over the whole flipping store. He's like, Cameron, there are none. And
yeah, we usually deliver on Thursday and a lot of stores are out on Sunday, but I mean, that's only during the growing season. We stopped that. Unfortunately had to stop that mid November or mid October because we didn't have enough stuff left. But so that's another way that, the consumer can find our flowers too, is at the grocery store. And like I said, we pick those on Monday, Tuesday, and they are in your hands on Thursday in the store, in the bouquet market district as well.
okay.
Yep. So they're fun to work with as well. So, you have these bigger stores and, local florists that are really supporting the businesses around them. And that's really fun.
Local florist, is that like McNamara? This is really bad.
Smaller,
Any.
smaller guys.
Okay.
Littler, more your littler guys.
Okay. Do you know of any in Fisher specifically?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
I know.
I'm probably gonna get like a message like, why did you message
me? That's all right. It's okay. You don't have to answer that. I just was like, because to be honest with you, I can't think of any.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why when I learned of you, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Now I have a local florist. Like, this is great.
Yeah, McNamara is a little bit too big sometimes to get into those bigger ones. It's more hassle to deal with them. So but people who have a wedding, florists that have a wedding, will come pick up on Wednesday to do their event on the weekend and use our flowers and stuff.
Right.
So that's really fun for me to see what they, and sure, we do our own wedding and events, but to see, and support the other people in your exact same industry, and encourage them and, see what they do with your flowers is really fun and exciting for me. So,
well, it's supporting local, right? Yeah. It's using local farmers. It's kind of like when you go to restaurants when they're using local farmers, right? Yes. Like you have your own thing, right? Like Tyner Pond has his own thing, but then he also supplies to a bunch of other places. And so then it's still supporting local. So it's kind of that same concept, which I, again, really respect and love because it's keeping it kind of in that family, Mm-hmm. Do you have like future plans for sweet peas?
Oh my goodness. We have a lot of plans. I always dream big and hope that I can get there. So we got a couple things in the works that fortunately can't quite mention yet, but basically just continuing to get the word out that you don't have to buy your flowers on the other side of the world. Your quality flowers can come here and from here and get your florist and grocery stores and everything to realize that too. That's a big proponent of my business too, but then I would love to offer everybody a more hands-on experience where they can come out and wander the fields like I did when I was a kiddo and and just really see what
you pick
hopefully. I don't know. Okay. I don't know where that goes. I'm not sure and we're not quite
there yet.
Yeah. So, it's mostly just me doing this now. So that's to take a huge step. It's like, well, how are you going to do that with doing this and then doing everything else? So, so we got some ideas. We're just not exactly sure the direction. We're just take a step up and look up at the same time. So
I think it's neat. I'm excited to see how it goes. I love, again, that you shifted. And I think that through anything, you kind of just shift and mold. And it'll be interesting to kind of see where that goes. I'm going to support it. I think I've sent you more texts. Okay, what about this? And I have all these ideas. I'm kind of like you, like I have all these ideas, and then those ideas will still come to you because they're still on my list. It's just getting to them and
yes. Yeah, and making that some of a reality, is the hard part. The idea on paper, and then like going back to my landscape design, days, like putting a drawing on the computer and doing it in a paper, and then actually implementing it, like that's two completely different things. It's so much easier for me to, draw the drawing, but actually like, doing it, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
So.
It does. Each individual step, it's good to kind of, go through it. Adam and I joke all the time. I have all these ideas. I have so many ideas. And he's like, Cameron, slow down. Because you get started on one and then it's like, okay, and then about this. And it's like, and then you forget about this and you got to.
Yeah.
I got all the ideas. It's the executing them.
Yeah. And the time to do it.
So just not enough time in the day. Well, Cecily, how can we and our viewers support you kind of through this growing process?
Well, I appreciate that. Always, ask for local flowers wherever you go. If it's me or somebody else, just ask, do you get your flowers local? And if they don't, like give them a little nudge because there's enough of us out there. But, head over to our website too. I think there's a little shop icon up there. If you want to send flowers to somebody to brighten their day or to celebrate with them, we can definitely do that. And then stay tuned through Instagram and Facebook. We're going to be posting our seasonal, holiday, and fall collections on there.
Oh, okay.
And that will, those dried wheat wreaths will definitely come from that. That is a subscription.
Yes.
Each, I think it's every week or every 2 weeks, you get a nice bouquet delivered to you.
I love that.
So stay tuned for, we got a lot of holiday stuff going. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
There's your ranunculus right there. There's your ranunculus.
The
peach ones.
Peach ones are gorgeous. Are those from your farm?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then that's all flowers that we grew right there in that bouquet. So, like a lot of our weddings and events, it's taken from the field, like right to your hand as you're walking down the aisle or down to your centerpiece.
See that you have some roses in it, right? But I love that it's not the focal point.
I think those are
right, because you got here kind of like interspersed.
Yeah. So if a bride loves roses, I know that's not quite you, but if a bride loves roses and wants them in her bouquet, we can definitely do that, even though we don't grow those on our farm. So what we do is we just, work with local wholesalers that have the roses, and we'll purchase them from them and then supplement everything else. So farm first, then the local florist after that. So.
Okay, the foliage that's kind of in amongst all of the flowers, do you grow a lot of that foliage yourself as well?
Yeah, I have eucalyptus in one of my high tunnels that has been there for 4 years.
I love eucalyptus.
Yeah, and I have every year I'm like, how are you doing this? Because how cold it gets. But that is actually my favorite part of the entire fields in the summer is that eucalyptus patch.
Smells gorgeous, I bet.
And new growth on eucalyptus is the coolest thing. It has, there's no flower to it, but it's just really cool how it produces new leaves and stuff.
Are you going to do those in the wreaths that you're going to sell too?
Our eucalyptus that we grow, unfortunately, does not dry like you see at Hobby Lobby or something. That's like through a special process preserving.
I didn't know that.
I've tried it. It's kind of more, I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Good to
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
See, you learn. I love fresh eucalyptus. It's
Yes.
one of my favorites, like
Yes.
by far. I even this year, so when we were doing our backyard, when I was trying to look for like local or more, again, this region, pussy willows were one of the things that you used to see them everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And then they like almost disappeared. Like you don't really see them anywhere. And I love the pussy willow branch, like in flower arrangements and stuff.
Yeah.
So I planted 3 pussy willows in my backyard.
Nice. Those are huge. They're going to get huge.
Oh, here's the thing. Another example of Cameron going, let's just put some pussy willows in the back. Things, the one of them is massive. I don't.
You forgot to read the back. It said probably gets like 10 by 10.
No,
So
it's
tall.
I cut it. I keep cutting it because I'm like, I don't. I will tell you, in the like end of summer, the beetle, what is it?
Japanese beetles.
They destroy the last 2 years. They have destroyed both of them. Like they still come back. Like they're still growing ginormously. It's just all the leaves get all the holes, and I haven't figured out what to put on them. I've tried a couple different things, but
I know I can't tell you because I deal with the same thing throughout the summer. Like, stop eating my flowers, please.
Right? I know. They're awful. They're like the worst bug out there. They also eat my blackberry bushes. Anyways. Well, Cecily, I so appreciate it. I could probably talk plants and flowers all day long with you. Not sure how many people get really excited as I do. It's not something that I probably know as enough as you do. I love learning about it, but I can't retain it. I have too much in my brain, but I love knowing about the different plants and learning about them. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Talking with us. We do have one question that's always that we ask every guest, which is, who do you think we should interview next?
Oh man, I've been thinking about this one. People at Unplugged Candles. Have you done that one yet?
No, I haven't. Okay, so I've heard of them.
Oh yeah.
Getting my piece of paper.
Yeah.
Unplugged candles. Mm-hmm.
Soy candles. Yeah. They just opened a new spot, and they do pretty cool stuff. 126th and Promise, I think, ish. They were in Fortville, and then they just opened up a place in over there. So, and they're super nice.
I'll have to reach. Do you happen to know anybody there?
I've been trying to think of her name and I forget. We've supported each other in a couple, like Mother's Day. We partnered with them for a Mother's Day gift package, and then they had a fall opening a couple weeks ago, and I gave them an arrangement for their fall, but it's slipping my mind, and I apologize.
Text me. That's fine. Text me. But I will you make sure that when you do the wreaths and stuff that you send me a picture? Because I'd love to post that on social and try to.
Yes. Hopefully this weekend. Weekend you'll see everything up, and then, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because that will be the first place that we kind of launch it too.
Yeah. Let me go to the banners on that, because I know with a lot of people, they want to see that, so to speak. So it's always sweet peas.
Yeah, plural on the piece. Yep.
I know. Yep. My husband said that to me. He goes, "It's peas."
Yeah.
I know. I researched it. It's sweet peas. What? I didn't ask that question. How'd you come up with that name?
And I call my daughter all the time. I feel like everybody has a great memory of a grandma or somebody calling them sweet pea, and and then the flower sweet pea has such a beautiful fragrance that always draws people, and I guess that's always what I wanted to do, is just provide this warm, fuzzy feeling for people, and then kind of draw them in. So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
I like the name. I like it.
And then our other one is Euphoric Events, and that
I didn't mark that one, but yeah,
and that you can find that from our website. that link from our website. So.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm excited about seeing it grow, and I'm so thankful that you picked this area as an area to stay and have a flower farm, because again, I know it's not everything that I've heard. It's not an easy thing to do. So for somebody to take it on and continue it, I'm thankful.
My favorite is like, oh, you must have the easiest job. You must enjoy your job every day. I'm like, no.
Like, how many people say that about any job that you make look easy? I don't know how many times I've heard that. Like, real estate's got to be so easy. And I'm like, yeah, if you would like to try it, come on over. We'll show you how easy it is. And then when people come, like, because I'm like, if you are interested, I will help. Come and sit with us. We'll show you what we do. Like, I'm an open book for the most part. It sounds like you probably would be too. Like, come to the farm, like, see how easy it is. And then people, like, I've had a couple people come and shadow, and they're like, nope.
No, thank you. Yeah. So
because it is, and yours is labor intensive.
I think my back's hurt for the last 3 days, but it's okay. Yeah. So it's just
and that's why I don't do it, because I already have back problems.
Yes.
Well, Cecily, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come on our little show and chat with us. And we appreciate you. And, for all of our viewers, definitely check out her site, Sweet Peas Flower Farm, the Euphoric, is it Euphoric Designs?
Events, yeah.
Events, which I went over and looked at that, and there's like 4 women, like you said, that do stuff. It's really awesome. And you can learn even more about that there. Next week, we are interviewing Jared Koopman. Many of you know Harley, who is the police dog that was unfortunately passed in the line of work. His owner is Jared Koopman, and he's going to be on. We had his wife, gosh, it's been almost 2 months, and he wanted to be on the show too. So we're excited about having him on. He has a brand called 107 Brand, which is a woodworking brand. And so he's going to come on. That's next week, again, on Thursday at 7:30. So make sure to tune in next week. But Cecily, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If anybody has questions for her, feel free to still post a question and we'll get it to her. And everybody will have a wonderful Thursday. Thank you guys
so much.